Hi, thanks for coming back and joining me. We are starting in this season of spring. And spring is really one of those magical times of the year because it's when we're leaving the most disconnected time of winter and we're going to the most connected time of summer. So spring is this really powerful bridge, I guess, or this crossing that we have, that we are responsible to go from the most disconnected time to the most connected time with whatever we have at our disposal. Now, if you don't have enough tools to spring clean your relationship, not to worry. We are going to collect and build that together. So what is spring? Spring is really a time of repair and reconnection. And somebody in the relationship, you or your partner, might really start feeling free from the weight of winter and all of the heaviness and burdens that happened in that season. You might feel forgiveness for past ruptures and definitely less friction in conversations. So when you are talking, there isn't a lot of itchiness, there isn't a lot of impatience, there isn't a lot of intolerance. There really is more forgiveness and more space and more listening. And of course, in spring, we become more happy for the small moments. So the times that we are connected and laughing, or we might share an inside joke, we are more grateful for those times. We definitely have more patience, more grace, and more listening. So we need to stop for a moment and define an undefinable term. What is a good relationship to you? Now, if you were in the honeymoon stage of your relationship, you would have one set of criteria. If you moved into the comfortable zone of your relationship, your definition of a good relationship would look very different. And if you have been together for decades, your definition would be different still. So depending on the season of your relationship in terms of how long you've been together and how many experiences you've shared, your definition is going to change. But this is where we take a moment and say, what is a good relationship? Because that will help us understand what you want, what you need, what you crave, what you desire, what will help you wake up in the morning and say, I'm in a good relationship. Or put your head on the pillow at the end of the day and say, thank you for this great relationship in my life, right? We want to know, what is it that's capturing your attention and what is something that you feel is important in a relationship, or maybe it's something you're lacking, or maybe it's something you're super grateful that you have, because as you look around, you see not everybody has what you have. So try for a moment to define what makes a good relationship. And then what do you want for your relationship today, tomorrow, and 10 years from now, right? Because if you want excitement and adventure and lots of ups and, big sweeping emotions, that is going to outlay a very different path in life if you were conversely hoping for a comfortable, safe, quiet, reclusive kind of relationship where it was you two against the world, right? Those are very different Zen moments, the very different feelings. And so you defining what you want in a relationship can help you align with your partner. Now, it might come out that your partner is super adventurous and wants all these big emotions, and you want the quiet cabin in the forest where you don't actually interact with other people. We have to work on that because there will definitely be more times returning to winter as you both, kind of fall into the feeling that your stuff is not important or they are not doing what you want them to do. And that will go both ways. So spring is a time that we get to define our relationship, and we really get to understand that relationships fall into winter because of two main things. And this is according to James Sexton. He is an author of a best-selling book and a divorce lawyer. And he says it happens because of two things. Divorce happens because you don't know what you want, or you don't know how to express what you want. And so doing this exercise of what is a good relationship is very helpful for you to start with the first part of that. What do you want? And so if you don't know what you want, but you complain or you get irritated or you get agitated because you're not getting what you want, it matters that you define what it is so you can be honest with yourself and with your partner. Hey, I really need more adventure in my life. I love the cabin in the woods, but every once in a while I need to go to the city and like whoop it up in Mardi Gras, or I need to travel to big cities and go to big festivals, or have these other adventurous experiences, go to Costa Rica and go ziplining through the jungle. You can have that conversation, but if you're just agitated that you're always doing what they want and you're not doing what you want, maybe it's because you haven't quite said what you want to yourself and then to the other person, right? You haven't actually expressed what it is you're looking for. And that is a huge component that James Sexton says is missing in a lot of couples who come to the divorce table at his office and for the very first time say what went wrong. They say what they were missing. They say what they wished they had, but the other person never heard them ask for those things. We want to avoid that. Let's figure that out in spring cleaning. So when we're in spring, I want you to think about what spring means to you. Traditionally in your relationship, you have not stayed in winter the whole time, or you probably wouldn't have stayed together. So what does spring mean to you? What has spring meant in the past? How do you know that you are ready for spring? And what are some ways that you have typically repaired your relationship? Even though you didn't know it was called spring, how did you reconnect with them? Did you make them their favorite meal and, kind of go through the belly? Did you offer to do something kind for them? Did you step out of your way and apologize, for example? What did you do to reconnect with your partner? And alternatively, what did your partner do for you? So if there was a rupture in the relationship, how did your partner know that it was time to heal and move back, kind of closer together? What kinds of things do they typically do? Does somebody buy somebody flowers and that's kind of a signal of an olive branch? Oh, okay, so either we're going to deal with what happened or we're just going to forgive and forget and move on, right? What are some of those behaviors that signal you want to be moving towards spring? In the 5 seasons of connection, the signal that we have to move into spring is really a willingness to spring clean. Now, just like in your house, you cannot spring clean your entire house at the same time. You cannot go from the very tippy top of your house to the very bottom and everything in between in one moment, right? Spring cleaning as an actual activity in the world is a lot of work. It can be slow, it can be messy, it could be tiring, it could be exhausting, but at the end of it, you are just so happy and you are so proud of all of your spring cleaning that things are looking beautiful. They're fresh, they're clean, they're decluttered, all of the crap has been taken away. You're very proud of that, right? So spring cleaning is the same in our relationships with our partners. Now, I break out spring cleaning into 2 sections. There's internal spring cleaning, and then there's external spring cleaning. So in the next videos, we will go into each of these, but I want to just give you an update right now on what's to come. In your workbook, you can absolutely flip through and you can decide, I'm not sure that this is going to work for us, or I need to think about this a little bit more. That's totally fine. But I want you to try to be open, because some people will absolutely say, that is not going to work. That is not for me. I don't want that at all. And they didn't give it a try, but yet they fell back into winter over and over and over. And once they were open to the possibility of spring cleaning in this particular way, everything changed. right? Everything changed for them. So I want you to at least consider starting each of the spring cleaning activities and then decide, is this working for us? Can we find value? Can we find strategies to reconnect in this way? Some things will be a straight up yes, some things may be a no, but I want you to at least try first. Just like when you have a child who's like, oh, I don't want to eat vegetables. 3 bites, a couple of times. I think science is saying 17 times a child needs to try a new food before they're like, okay, fine, I'll eat this food. I won't ask you to try these activities 17 times, but definitely give it an honest go. That's for sure. All right, so internally, we have journaling and we have self-care. Those are the 2 biggies, and they really are the foundation for personal summers, right? They are how we get to summer personally. We cannot get to summer with our relationship if we are in personal winter. It just doesn't work that way. So getting ourselves to personal summer is the first step on the internal spring cleaning side. On the external spring cleaning side, we have a number of activities that we get to do together. One is talking about apologies and forgiveness. One is looking at conflict resolution. Then we have boundaries, we have gardens, and we have ground rules. So when we think of spring cleaning, we really go room by room. We get all of the things we need to clean that room. We're not going to bring the vacuum to the kitchen if what we need in the kitchen is a broom, right? So we're going to get the right things together. Please go into your workbook, make sure that that section is printed off, and I will see you in the next video to talk about internal spring cleaning. Talk to you then.